Alright, so round two. We should know by now that before we start graphing a polynomial that's in factored form, we want to figure out the degree, and the degree is based on the multiplicities of each of the factors. So 1 plus 2 gives us 3. And then the end behavior model, since a is positive, the graph is going to go up from left to right. And we know based on the factor of x plus 2, that corresponds to an x-intercept of x equals -2. So we just plot that. And then the factor of x minus 3 means we have an x-intercept of, or a 0 of, +3. Again, the graph's going to start low. It's going to go up here. And it's going to end up here. So it's going to go, because of the multiplicity of a 1 on the factor of x plus 2, which corresponds to that x-intercept. Since the multiplicity is 1, it's going to cross the x-axis at x equals -2. And then, because the multiplicity is 2 of the factor x minus 3, it's going to touch the x-axis at x equals 3. Next, degree. Should notice the degree is 1, 2, 3. So the degree is 3. And again, the a is positive. So again, it goes up from left to right. But here we have 3 factors. Now, this is sometimes a stumbling block. What do you do when you see an x? Well, when you see a factor of x, you're not subtracting anything from that. Or you can think of that as you're subtracting 0 from that. So when the factor is x, the 0 is 0. This graph will cross the x-axis at x equals 0. And then when we have a factor of x plus 3, that corresponds to an x-intercept of -3. Factor of x minus 2 corresponds to an x-intercept of +2. We know it starts low, and ends high. And each of the multiplicities is 1, so it's going to cross at -3, cross at 0, and cross at 2. That's it. Okay, so the next one here we have a I'm laughing because I quickly moved away from that last example. So we have multiplicity of 2, that means a degree of 4. The a being negative, so if a is negative and the degree is even, the ends of the graph are going to go down like that. From the last example, we saw that if we have a factor of x, that corresponds to a 0 at 0. Factor of x minus 3 means we have a 0 at 3. And we're going to start low and end low. And each of the multiplicities is 2. So multiplicity of 2 with the factor of x means that the graph is going to come up and touch the x-axis at 0. And then again, another multiplicity of 2 for a factor of x minus 3 means it's going to touch at x equals 3 as well. That's it. Next example. Moving right through these. You can pause the video if you want. 2, 1, and 3. 2, 1, and 3 add up to 6. The a again is negative. A is negative. And so it's going to open down. We have an x-intercept, or a factor of x, so that means an x-intercept of 0 again. Factor of x plus 3 means an x-intercept of -3. And a factor of x minus 2 means an x-intercept of +2. And we're going to start low and end low. And so we look at our first x-intercept of -3. That corresponds to the factor of x plus 3, which has a multiplicity of 1, which means we're going to go right through the graph, through the x-axis at -3. We're going to cross it. And then the next factor of x, the next 0 here, of x equals 0, we have a multiplicity of 2, which means we're going to just touch. And I made my first example a difficult one. So here we have a multiplicity of 3. The one thing in the Khan Academy video that they didn't show is, what do you do when you have a multiplicity of 3? Well, it's an odd one, so you're going to cross, but you're going to cross with a special cross. So when it's a 3, you're going to have a squiggly. And you're going to have a squiggly. It's going to be flat, but it's going to be a squiggly. So squiggly goes down like that. So notice here, and we'll end with this example in the video. Notice that we're cross, no squiggly. Just straight through. Let me just do that. Straight through. Straight through when the multiplicity is a 1, but a cross with a squiggly, I'm just assuming this is how you spell squiggly. Yeah, I think so. So cross with squiggly when the multiplicity is a 3 or a 5 or any other number greater, any other odd number greater than 1.